This video is about naming our variables. So when we name our variables, we should try and use meaningful names. So for example, here on line 4, we have a string. The value of that string is Smith, and it's perfectly valid. But the name of the variable, so the name itself, is very vague. It's not helpful at all to the coder. This does not tell us anything about what this variable is containing. So this is what I mean by giving the variables a meaningful name. So for example, this one on line 6, in salary expectation 100,000, this is perfectly valid. So the name is quite intuitive, is quite explicit, is meaningful. It tells us what the value represents in our code. It makes more sense whenever we're going to go line by line through our code, trying to understand what we are doing, or if someone else is reading our code. Instead of giving them a name that is meaningless, we should try and make an effort to create descriptive names, to give our variables descriptive names. So this is good practice. In this case, on line 4, this code is perfectly valid. It's still perfectly valid. But the problem here is with the name. It's simply the name of the variable is not meaningful enough, is not descriptive enough. We could be changing this to surname, for example, given that it looks like it's a surname. Okay. Now, apart from this, so if this, what I just addressed, is optional, but it makes good practice in programming, there are a couple of rules that we need to follow whenever we name our variables. So here we see a variable must start with a valid letter. So in our case, a valid letter, a $sign, or an underscore in order to be a valid name. If we put anything else apart from these, our code is gonna have a bug. Our code is not gonna compile. Okay, if we have a look at the instructions, they say they declared variables with confusing names. Run the file and have a look at the error messages when you're trying to compile. So I'm gonna run the file, and here on the right hand side, we're gonna see a couple of errors. Because first of all, this one on line 3, it starts with a number and it automatically breaks the rules of naming our variables. Same on line 5. So starting with a dot, this is not going to be valid and it's going to create a problem in the program. I'm going to run it, and here we get some sort of errors that tells us that something is wrong with our code. And these two errors are triggered by line 3 here because of the name of the variable that starts with a number, and here on line 5 because the name of the variable starts with a dot. And these two break the naming rule convention. So then however we need to declare the variables. Okay, now we have a look at instruction number 2, and it says some of these variable names are illegal. Change the ones that are preventing the file from compiling. So here I'm going to change that one. I'm going to change it to first name, and this is going to be now perfectly legal, perfectly valid, and is meaningful. First name. Now this one on line 5, I'm gonna just remove the dot. We could as well, if we really want to keep to our good practices in programming, we should name this email, for example. And also here we should try and say surname. Okay. And if I'm gonna run this now, we should see that the program runs. So we got to this line, because before, since we had errors in our naming and naming our variables, we didn't even get to this line. The program could not even compile.